Uh, we are live. All right. Well,
We're do-
um, I we should be. There was an error, but it says we're live. Uh-oh. I'm gonna give it a second here. This is looking a little bit. No, we're good. All right, we're live. We're good. We're good.
yeah, yeah, we're doing it. We're doing
We did it.
it.
Okay. Well, it's what's it been? A few months again. Yes, it's been a little bit, but hey, we're here now to discuss Andor, season two. Now, I just want to say first off, thanks, Anthony, for joining. In the past, it's no secret. It's no secret. Andor season one, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan. Like, it's no secret, okay? But I'm here now to say I was wrong. No, but man, I really had a blast with Andor season two, though. It was a really good time, but I guess I don't know. I guess I'm curious. We can kind of break it down like arc by arc or whatnot, but I'm curious. What did you think of the second season compared to the first one? Because I'm pretty sure you liked the first season, like to begin with, right?
Yeah, I think I liked it like moderately. I was like, it wasn't my favorite, it wasn't my least favorite. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay. I was calling it Andor, and I mean, I had claimed, I mean, I did fall asleep during some of the first season's episodes, but yeah, no, it definitely took a bit of a step forward per se, but in the second season for me anyhow. And I just want to make a couple announcements. Well, we can say hi to some of the early chatters. So what's up, Jack, Fact Checker, and Shannon? I just want to say in today's stream, I've got a Q&A running. So the plan is me and Pence are just gonna kind of do our thing, talk Andor, talk Star Wars and whatnot. But if you guys have specific questions for myself or Anthony, put them in there, and we're gonna address them at the end. So yeah, as many questions you want, whether it's about Star Wars, us, whatever, we'll do that at the end. But all right, let's get into it. So yeah, I think when I finished Andor season one, there was definitely moments at least where I was like, man, this is really good. Obviously, the cinematography was, I mean, second to none as far as shows, in my opinion. I mean, at the time when it came out, like
Mhm.
the Eye of Eldani. I mean, that was a crazily stunning arc, and obviously, I feel like a lot of people's favorites too was the prison arc, right? Narkina 5. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what were your top moments, I guess, from season one?
You know what I constantly come back to from season one, and I reference it a lot of videos. It's a Marva's speech. Like, I don't know what it is about her speech at the end of season one though. I just absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite speeches in all of Star Wars, but that one I think is like my top moment, and then I would do One Way Out
One
probably
Way Out.
afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. The
Yeah.
speech. Yeah. I really like the. For me, at least in that last arc, that speech is probably the best part of that arc for me. I think that arc is good, but I think it at least in season one for me, it peaked in the Narkina 5 like overall as an arc. But yeah, that I can see why the speech would be good. I think my favorite episode still, favorite scene is still probably just the visuals from the Eye of Eldani. But yeah, overall, I still when I finished season one, was sensed with like a almost like a man, like I was hoping for something different, but maybe I don't know if I necessarily even had expectations, but I think it's more so the biggest problem I guess I had at the time was more so it took the whole season for Cassian to actually like join the rebellion. Like he's doing tasks for the rebellion and whatnot, but it's not till right at the end when he like officially joins. So like I just wanted to get into like missions and like spy missions and whatnot, but like I said, I was kind of I was hoping for season two to do certain things and build upon what they did. And I mean, for me they did that. I mean, we're starting off. The first episode was felt, and I used to say too, like it didn't feel all that Star Wars to me at times, but no, it's just different. It's like Star Wars these days. We have shows for a variety of different reasons and a variety of different audiences, and it really did pave its way for its kind of own genre almost. But yeah, anyhow, the first episode of season 2, we get Cassian in a TIE fighter, a really funny, like a less serious scene, which for me was nice to, rather than having the constant, more darker tone, to have a little bit more of that fun. And I guess from a Star Wars perspective, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think of that opening scene in Andor season 2?
Oh yeah, I thought it was great. It was like you said, both humor mix, but also just like I don't know, it kind of displayed Cassian's confidence, but also how that confidence was a little misplaced with the TIE fighter. I think the TIE fighter was also like a TIE silencer, kind of like the same vessel that Kylo Ren used. I think it was like
Like
the
a
original
prototype?
model. Um, yeah, like a prototype, which is a cool callback. But
Yeah, that was cool.
I love seeing like I love how like Andor just makes TIE fighters feel threatening because
Yeah.
usually they're just kind of like they get hit once and just detonate. But in Andor, they're like I don't know, they feel really threatening.
Yeah.
But
It's it was just such a funny scene because like he's a pilot, so he's a pilot for like standard cruisers ships or whatever. But that looks like it's the first time he's operating any kind of TIE fighter. He gets in and he's like, what are these controls like? And then, yeah, and then it follows up with he like gets out of there barely. Like that was like I was like, oh my gosh, is he gonna be able to like even get this ship safely? And he ends up on a familiar looking planet that we don't know until a little bit later, but and we got like the Lost Brothers. That was probably the most bizarre. That was probably in all of Andor. That was probably the most bizarre moment for me. Like I'm not saying necessarily good or bad, but just very bizarre. The whole scene with like the Lost brothers on Yavin 4 though. Like, what did you think of that?
I honestly like when they did they did the rock paper scissors was hilarious. They were such an odd group. It was really I mean it did a great job at depicting what the early cells of the rebellion were like, but I thought they were hilarious honestly.
Yeah,
They're like a little irritating but also funny, you know?
yeah, it was definitely just different, and I think I know some people I guess for at least if people had problems with season 2, that was probably one of them for some people. I think for me though, like it wasn't really that bad. I liked that kind of Star Wars is a big galaxy, and with the rebellion, yeah, it's kind of a misfit group to start. I mean, each year we progressed like 1 year closer to the Battle of Yavin, so at that point we were like 4 years out or whatever, right? So they're still like trying to figure it out. Also, actually, I don't know if I remember if they discussed this, but did they specify which like sect of rebels that group was under, or?
I think they were kind of just like gorillas. I think they were just like a separate group.
I
They
mean,
were just like
that's cool. That's cool. If anything, I would say they could maybe if they were it'd be like Saw Gerrera, but I think they're way too unprofessional though for a Saw Gerrera even. But like even
yeah,
Saw's
no.
got
Saul would
standards.
have hated them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Saw's got some standards, but yeah, and then but I really liked that I mean I didn't like that we only had 4 weeks of Andor season 2, but I did like basically getting a movie each week worth of content. And that first 3 episode arc for me, it was compelling, it was fun, but it was also sad and dark too, with like the death of Brasso. Oh, spoilers! But sorry.
Uh,
Oh, I hope you've seen it. We are discussing Andor season 2, so if that one surprised you, it's probably not the right place for you right now.
yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, that yeah. Sorry, I just remembered like half the Twitter discussion that I repressed from that week of Andor.
Yeah, yeah. Did you watch like
Oh
on
god.
release like right away for them or? Yeah,
Yeah. I was always like the second it dropped, I was
yeah,
like locked in.
yeah. Same.
But
Okay. I was gonna say same, but I did watch. The only time I could go to the Revenge of the Sith showing was that like second week. So like for the fall,
mhm.
so the arc after that, which the first arc, also another sad note, was when they left B2 behind. That was
Mhm.
sad, but I'm happy they addressed that. If that's something that they just left later, that would have been like, what? They just left him, just left our boy. But
Yeah, left him behind.
yeah, I had seen Revenge of the Sith, and then I got back, admittedly, pretty late from Revenge of the Sith to then watch episodes 4 through 6, and if they're, I mean, just watching 4 through 6 and not watching 7, 8, just watching 4 through 6 for the first time for me, I'll be honest, because it was so late, I fell asleep during that one. That was like, it was compelling, but it was very, very dialogue heavy and very, intricate. They were obviously building something deep there, but watching that for the first time at late, that was for me probably the slowest part of the season 2. But knowing what comes after it now with new context, it's very much needed though, because after that halfway arc, Andor goes, and it don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I loved how one of my favorite parts of that arc was Cyril and Dedra with Cyril's mom. That was just
Oh,
like it was just a completely different world. Like I mean it was really cool contrast, admittedly,
yeah,
like the fact that like they're just hanging out in a Coruscant high rise having like a Modern Family episode,
yeah.
but and the people on Gorge just like stop the Empire, they're building something.
Well, I was
But
so busy during that time to make content. The only content I really made when it was releasing was about Dedra, as I called it, Cyril and Dedra. No, I mean that was super fun and definitely heartbreaking though when it comes to it. It's like they're Imperials, so it's like you can only I guess feel so much for them, but it's like you almost want them to like figure it out or win, like, and that was probably one of the bigger things to kind of theorize too. Like I guess midway, talking points midway through, I guess theorizing with others. Like when I was over at Stay on Target on their show, we were talking about like is Dedra going to ultimately, like, who's going to die between those two? Like somebody's probably going to die. Is one of them going to join the rebellion? But I think that's just those two are just the definition of Imperial loyalists, like to a T, and to obviously to a fault.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean I really couldn't be happier with both of their fates. I mean, it just was satisfying both ways around. And that is kind of the irony of like what the Empire is. It's just like no matter how loyal to it, you're just a stepping stone.
Yeah,
So,
I think,
uh,
yeah, I mean, at least for Dedra, like she certainly was ruthless, and like she certainly was aware of some of the more darker, I guess, tendencies, obviously darker moments of the Empire. And it would be ignorant to say, I mean, Cyril wasn't looking the other way in some things, but I think at least Cyril, he like for me, Cyril's probably the most compelling character. I mean, other than probably Cassian, but through the whole series is Cyril. And rewatching season 1 now, he's like, I'm like so excited when Cyril is on screen just to see that crazy arc. But he genuinely thinks like the Empire is good though. Like like to almost till right to the very end, he genuinely thinks he's doing a good thing. He's blinded completely by just purely point of view. Like from his point of view, the Empire is good, and the rebels are the ones bringing disorder to the galaxy. And it's not till the very end, and it's just but yeah, I mean, obviously, like the next part with the end of the Gorman arc and the Gorman massacre is peak, not just only peak Star Wars, but peak television. I mean, I'll say that. It was, I mean, man, just watching that scene, watching them just, watch the massacre unfold, just walking around and just realizing, man, like, finally, like, wow, just questioning himself, questioning everything he ever lived for and had done in his entire life.
yeah. I think that's like the craziest thing about all of it is that like he really like he got full on manipulated by Dedra. Dedra was just like, hey, we're gonna do this really cool thing that's gonna progress our careers, and he's like, okay. And then like he was like, wait a second, this isn't right. And then like all of his world, like his entire worldview is crumbling. And then he sees Cassie and he just reverts back to like, I gotta kill this dude from something that happened like 4 years beforehand. And the craziest part is he probably would have lived if he didn't like just
Yeah.
revert back to default settings.
Yeah, it at least how I interpret it too, and it was perfectly done. It was kind of like, I mean, in that moment, he was so conflicted with everything and questioning himself. He's like the Empire is doing evil, but my whole life I've been fighting against the rebels. The rebels are evil, so he's like having an internal conflict. So to him, the only person that like he could let that emotion and anger out, that confliction out, was the only person he could see as, from his point of view, Cassian is a murderer and evil still. Like he's like that's the only way he knows him. He knows him as a actual, like, he is a criminal. Everything else he's conflicted on, but he can take out all his energy on the one thing he is still assured on, and it ultimately, like you said, that's his demise, his downfall.
Yeah, I just really loved how Zero was just so focused and locked on. I mean, the only downside of season 2 is that, like, because it splits everything up by what, 3 episodes a year, that like the years don't feel especially long. But this dude like dedicated like 3 to 4 full years of his life to finding and hunting down Andor. And it was just really funny that Cassian was like, "Huh? Who are you? Like, I don't know who you are. Why are you? Why do you have beef with me, dude? You're just like a citizen."
Yeah, yeah, and that release schedule too, definitely like the relationship, for example, between Dedra and Cyril would have felt much longer than. And it was a long relationship. Like, it was pretty long, but it doesn't feel that long because it goes from, like, in like 2 weeks he's basically dead. Like, it's crazy. And yeah, what
I love the sequence where he comes back and she's like, "Turn the lights off." It's like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, who? Yeah, we know who is in charge there. Yeah, no, it. But yeah, the dinner scene, that's like an all timer though. Like, that'll be so good on a rewatch, and to be so adamant and saying, yeah, like I admit I didn't see what they necessarily were cooking up. But I'm rewatching Andor right now with my parents, and like, my parents are certainly casual. Like, we'll label them casual Star Wars fans, but this is the first one that, even with the first episodes, which I think are kind of some of the weakest episodes, they're like really actually like into it, like clearly into it. Like, they've enjoyed some of the shows, like The Mandalorian or Ahsoka. Like, they've enjoyed them, but I can tell that they actually are like really invested in this one. So that's cool to see too. But on the rewatch too, I'm starting to appreciate season 1 a bit more too. Even some of these episodes that are probably the weakest in the entire show too. There's still definitely a couple times where I'm like, okay, that kind of irked me, or like I feel a little bit thrown off. But man, it's pretty much as close to like a masterpiece as you can kind of get, though, just because of how they build. And then I can also see now, like, when they were saying this could have been like a 5-season show, I think at first I like kind of scoffed at that idea. Like, I thought, like, okay, really, we have a decent success and now, or we gotta, like, completely stretch it out. But like, after seeing those 3 episodes arcs from season 2, it legitimately actually felt kind of rushed, and not like rushed, but like only rushed due to the release schedule. And it's just like, everybody's left with wanting more, which means they did a good job. So I'm not saying they necessarily should have had more, because it's great, but I could see how they could have had more. Specifically, like, Gorman could have been an entire 12 episode season in itself, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that Gilroy was a genius for securing himself a 2-season deal at the bare minimum. I mean, that was a brilliant move on his part, because, like, I think I've said this on this stream with you a bunch of times, that I feel like a lot of first seasons of these Star Wars shows are like title crawls, and that, like, all of them could just fit in like 3 paragraphs of run-on sentences of just, this is what happened, this is where we are now. And Andor season 1 was definitely like that, because it is just him joining the rebellion. But it does set up a ton for season 2, and it does. Sorry, the dog opened my door. But it does. Not that they missed with season 2, but it does leave so much, like, you want so much more, because they went crazy with it, and they had every right to, because I think they had the best run in TV history with their IMDb.
Yeah, they literally
numbers.
made history. Like, this show isn't just like a great Star Wars show. It's one of the greatest shows now of all time. Like, you can say that. Like, it stands against the juggernauts. Like, it can stand toe to toe with like a Breaking Bad or a Game of Thrones. So, certainly had a better ending than Game of Thrones, and that's it. Endings matter. Endings matter. Obviously a lot. So when you are at your, basically you get to a peak and then you just kind of sustain that peak through the end, that's that's great. And I didn't even like I I made a video, not like just to basically make a video on it, basically to give props and say this is the perfect lead up to Rogue One, because yeah, immediately after finishing that, like I think it was the night of finishing that finale of Andor, I was like, I'm starting Rogue One. I don't care what I have the next day. And man, it is the perfect lead up to Rogue One. That's something that I got to give props to.
Yeah, that final sequence where he's like, there's not even dialogue. He's just walking from his hut to the what is it, the U-wing.
Yeah.
And the rising score. Oh my gosh, dude, it was incredible.
Yeah, those cinematics at the end, and then seeing like oh yeah, Saw Gerrera saying you don't know what I am. You do not know what I am. But yeah, even, that's.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be so real. Saw Gerrera has become one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Right after Andor came out, I started reading that new Star Wars book, Reign of the Empire.
Oh yeah,
it's really good. It's a lot like Andor. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Oh sweet,
but
yeah, I gotta get on that.
Yeah, dude, Saw Gerrera's in it, and he's just like so unironically funny. Like, Saul, we know you're on Jeddah. You don't know where I am. Jeddah? I've never even heard of it. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I think he's really funny. But
yeah, and then the other scene that reference it, but breathe it in. That's freedom, boy. They expanded on the lore. Like their attention to detail is great. Now, when you watch Rogue One, you don't think he's got some breathing mess, or maybe he does, but it seems like he's breathing in rhydonium. It gets him high.
I'll be so real. That Rhino speech makes me want to run through a wall. That nothing gets me more hyped like that. Like I get it. I didn't get it before. I was ignorant. I get it now. I would serve a Saw Gerrera, bro. I just like let it in, boy.
Yeah.
Like yes, yeah. I will.
Yeah.
I will join you.
I'll die for the rebellion if that's what it means.
Dude.
Yeah.
Give me some Rhino. I'm in. I'm in for the long haul. Let's do it.
It's just so, it's really the details and the attention to details that Andor season 2, or just Andor in general, does good. And like you said, like Andor season 1 and you know, similarly had where I was disappointed in that, from Cassian, because the show was called Andor. From his perspective, joining the rebellion at the end was like, that's kind of a little disappointing. But what they did with season 1, again, it's more of a title naming thing. I wouldn't necessarily call the show Andor. I mean, I would just call the show like the Rise of the Rebellion. Like, and the amount of different characters that they set up and then continue and deliver on, I mean, it's just great. And then yeah, obviously with how Rogue One hits, it's more devastating too. I mean, we get that end with Big Scalene, obviously with a kid that's obviously inferred to be Andor's, which I think that's and I do appreciate that from Gilroy, and especially this kind of being a more darker themed show. And I definitely have certainly spoke my mind about, man, this doesn't, some of these themes are a bit off, but like, no, I mean, he's opened up my perspective a lot more, but also he still threw in an element of hope at the end, which is nice to kind of lean on to regardless, and also now theorize on, right?
yeah, exactly. Like, who does that next individual become?
Yeah.
I kind of hope they leave it open ended though. I'm gonna be honest. I hope they leave it open ended.
That's another thing too. While it's nice to make connections and pay attention to details and try not to retcon stuff, it is nice to not necessarily try to make everything connect. And I think you see this in Marvel. They've kind of got to a point where like nobody necessarily cares about, like, you don't need to focus on this. All kind of leads up to this. We got, like, people are starting to get a little, like, it's like almost all taxing to try to keep up with everything. People just want good quality shows. That's what this is, frankly.
Yeah. And I really love how Andor kind of sits on its own. I mean, it's literally just a direct tie into Rogue One. But if you're a fan of other things, like Padme's headdress was in the shop,
Mm-hmm.
Not Plo Koon's, but a Kel Dor mask was in there.
Yeah.
And for example, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm part of the problem, but I got hype when General Drake's, or whatever his name is,
mm-hmm.
whatever, the guy who got that who got his Marvel superhero scene where he
got
the rising score and like showed up and said like 3 words. Whenever whenever he was talking about like, oh, Gold Squadron is gonna
Yeah,
bring Mon
yeah,
Mothma
that,
back to Yavin. I was
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. That's great, and that's also that was probably, I think that episode with the speech for Mothma was probably actually my favorite episode. It's tough to pick a favorite. Like it's like the Gorman and but like I really like the like and like that's what I want to see out of Andor. I wanted to see him. He clutched. He clutched. He got Mon Mothma out of the Imperial Senate, like on Coruscant, the capital of the galaxy of the Galactic Empire. Like talk about a clutch mission for the rebellion. Uh, I'll say the level of respect he gets in the next year, it feels a little bit like, oh, you're like you get mad, you know, you're starting to get mad at some of these Rebel Alliance leaders, which I think it kind of ties into and starts to suggest the fact of like, aren't some of those technically going to be some of those are New Republic leaders, right? Like that we see like in Ahsoka or whatever.
So like all those like the Imperial Senate, like for example, Senator Ziono, the guy who wore the green outfit in the Ahsoka court.
Yeah.
He was a part of the Imperial Senate. Like all those people that are in the New Republic, they just integrated. Like the Senate opened up. I think there's like because the Senate was dispersed in what zero like right during Rogue One
Mm-hmm.
or after Rogue One, and then it got or set up like 5-6 years later after Endor. So because there was a Coruscant Civil War, so that's like 6 years. Most of those people are still in their prime. So I mean, I'm sure like almost all of them just got re-election.
Yeah, true, man. And that's something too. Like, obviously, like the politics of Andor. It just like actually, you know, like it's entertaining to see, you know, the drama, like the drama aspect, politics or whatever. Like it's entertaining. Star Wars had that. I mean, George, that's what the prequels are. It's pretty much, and a lot of the Clone Wars are like that. It's all about galactic, you know, senators and all that. Also, I just want to make another side note just to make people aware if they haven't already. But we're gonna do Q&A at the end of the stream, so fill out the Q&A form for if you have a question, whether it's about Andor for Anthony or myself, and we'll kind of tackle them all at the end. But yeah, it's great. It's great to have another just, you know, good show to rewatch. And just, I mean, I'm gonna say that definitely helps the brand. Obviously that helps the brand to have a show like that level of quality. I've actually just a friend, no, funny, right before starting the stream, a good buddy of mine, my Rocket League teammate too, from college, he said, yeah, I'm starting Andor tonight. I'm like, hey, well, enjoy the journey. So obviously word of mouth spreading. And yeah, I mean, it deserves it. It deserves it, and it did well too. I was happy to see that it broke some of the Nielsen, you know, cracked into like the top 5, I think, at one point too. But I think this is just one of those shows that, like, if they're gonna have success on like a Disney Plus, like, you need to have a show like this where like people will just watch it. Like it's like when you make, you know, a stellar what if video that, you know, cracks 500,000 views. Like it's just, people are coming to see, you know, like just crazy good, you know, just absolute, you know, masterpiece of work basically. But it is, you know, if anybody wants to give me crap about like about my, you know, opinions for what I said on Andor season 1, I think that's fair. So like if I get that, if I get this in the comments, to get it, it's fair. It's well known. I certainly have. I'm just, like I said, but while I didn't, you know, necessarily show the most amount of enthusiasm for Andor season 1 when it came out, I was optimistic, and they did what I kind of had asked. I said, focus on what you did good, and like they focused on what they did good and incorporated Star Wars and made it all connect, and they did it. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I mean that is the benefit. I mean, there were some missed cues in the first season, and I mean that's the benefit when a show gets its chance to get a second season, is that like if there are problems, they can clean them up and you can get better, because you're like, okay, this thing that we tried didn't work, we'll get it better the next time. And that kind of, again, is the genius that he had of, you know, making sure they got a second season. I'm really curious what they would have done with a 5-season show.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been a lot of content.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I was gonna, well, that's, I know you. Well, I was just gonna say they had like I based on how much content they had in each of those 3 episodes arcs, you could almost speculate that each of those arcs could have been a potentially. What were
They
you gonna
could have
say?
been. I mean, yeah, I mean they could have been. I mean, I'm sure they would have had like more going on. Like, I'm interested in how they would have done all of that because that is a lot of
Hmm.
content that they would have filled in. But I mean, yeah, it's incredible. Also, what did you think of the new Bail Organa actor?
I think he did great. I mean, it was fine by me. I mean, ultimately, how like I just want to see. I think that's a lot of sentiment for a lot of people. I just want to see characters that we love and enjoy, and if that means recasting them, like I do it, as they say. For me,
Yeah.
that's what I would say. I think he did great, and honestly, he looks pretty similar anyway, so I had no problem. Obviously, the original is great, but he did great.
Yeah, he had such a stage presence to him, which was really cool.
Yeah,
I actually really enjoyed that Bail Organa actor.
yeah, there's definitely some memes in like the last episode he created with when he's talking to Andor, and when we know his planet and he gonna die in like a day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
yeah,
want
no.
to go down fighting. Good luck.
Well, 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 that's why we have what ifs. What if Bail Organa wasn't on Alderaan? Have you already done that? I mean, you've done so many what ifs.
It's like in the middle of like 4 or 5 different ones. It's not
That's
like
awesome.
the what if. It's not like
Yeah.
the what if itself. It's just like
Yeah.
it's. I couldn't tell you which ones though.
Yeah, no, like, and honestly, for me, at least for a lot of what ifs, at least for me or whatever, like the ones that I've actually done, like the most recent one I did, like what if Coleman Trevor, short, I was getting a oil change and just wrote that in the hour I was getting an oil change. Was like, I'm just gonna roll with it. This is fun, but it's what like that's the title, but in my video, Coleman's killed like a minute into it, and it's not about Coleman at all after that. It's just like it's just like a way to get rid of Dooku and then change the story. Right?
I yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude. Oh man, Coleman's hilarious.
Yeah, it is funny the more you think about it. Like he's a Jedi master on the council, and, and just how he goes is, I mean, Jango is awesome. Like he's the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, but still, I mean, Coleman got done dirty.
He did, and he was just like I think he was like their social media representative too. He was just like a guy that handled Jedi representation on the HoloNet, and he just got dunked on. Just so disrespectful.
Oh my gosh, that's who they have represented. The guy with, not to be
Yeah, the
discriminatory,
pterodactyl.
but no, that's awesome.
Yeah, I heard he got a part in the new Jurassic World. He's gonna be there.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Yeah, yeah. No. Oh, I just lost something. I was thinking of something, but yeah. No. What was I? What's okay? What's next for Star Wars though? I can't. I'm not on the top of my. But like, I know we've got the Mando and Grogu movie and Ahsoka season 2, but I can't really think out. Well, no, we just got announcements for new movies, I guess. But yeah, I guess what's like the next project? Is it actually Mando and Grogu? Like, are we waiting a full year for live action?
So the next project we're getting like a Visions this year. I
Okay.
haven't watched Visions. Um, well, there's also another Rebuild the Galaxy coming out sometime
Ooh.
this year.
Ooh.
Um, and that's it. That's all we're getting for this year. And then we get Mando Grogu next year, and I think after that in the summer, it's the Maul movie, or not the Maul movie, the
The
Maul
mall show.
show.
I'm really excited about that. And honestly, like maybe it's a lack of content to what we're used to, but we've just been given so much content. But like, I don't necessarily hate it though. Like if it means we can just focus more resources and like get like just banger projects like Andor season 2, like it's fine by me. I mean, it's less to talk about, which isn't as fun, but I mean, I think like for example, things are making a resurgence. Like fans are gonna do stuff, but like gaming, for example, like I've been enjoying hopping back on Star Wars Battlefront 2, like recently, and playing a lot of that. I don't know. You've been playing any Battlefront lately, or?
Yeah, no, I've got some questionable clips from my Battlefront times. There's
Uh,
yeah. There's a questionable clip. All right.
Now you got me curious. We'll have to talk after stream. No, but
Yeah, we will have to talk after stream. I don't think you'd appreciate me saying what I said on the stream.
Okay, all right, we can round up after. No, yeah, I streamed it a couple times. It was also because I built a new PC, so I was kind of testing out. I mean, it's an older game, but it's still visually stunning, but really good. And it's I don't want to give spoilers, but I believe I'm streaming on Friday Battlefront, but I guess it's not confirmed, so I'm gonna do a shameless self plug there. But it's been fun to find matches because and I'm also doing like a deep dive documentary on Battlefront as well. But because for me, like Battlefront actually is my number one, like the OG Battlefront and Star Wars. Like Star Wars to me, outside of the movies, how I stayed in it and like got my lore and everything else was the games though. Like I played the heck out of the games. I played so much of the games on PlayStation 2. But yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original on PlayStation 2, that's my number one game of all time. Like and I'm I'm a gamer, play modern games, but like just what that did for my childhood and what that did for my liking of Star Wars and just everything. Super thankful for that game. But I guess what I'm getting at too is if there's a lack of shows as well, let's get some of these games out, huh? Star Wars Eclipse, the KOTOR remake, something, get some of the, I mean, I love games. I love Star Wars games.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know they just announced that like that recon team or whatever that's like a strategy game that looked fun. And we're still waiting. I think we're still waiting on a first person shooter and a RTS, real time strategy.
Yeah.
I think we're waiting on those. But
Yeah. We're technically waiting on Star Wars Eclipse and KOTOR, but like those games haven't been canceled, but I mean, I made videos on them, but it's kind of like, man, at least for me, like I play, like I'll play any of the games for sure, but like I guess I'm really talking like I really like the story driven games, like the Jedi Survivor or like an Outlaws and those types of games. It's just, man, and that's probably my most anticipated game is I mean, GTA 6 is pretty high up there, I'll be honest, but it's probably the finale to Cal Kestis' story with Jedi 3, which I'm guessing is going to be called Jedi Master. I mean, it would make sense. Probably a safe bet to,
probably.
third game. I just pray, if you are listening out there, please do not kill Marin or Cal. Can we have a happy ending for once? Can they just like go off to Peridia in the new galaxy or something? I don't know, man.
Go to Pabu and hang out with Hunter, Crosshair, and Wrecker. Just hang out on the tropical planet.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm there.
It's probably too much to ask, but can we?
It'd be nice. It'd be nice for a happy ending once in a while, for once.
Right? Yeah. No. I was looking back. Also, I guess I miss animated Star Wars in general too, though, because I was gonna say if we're getting like one live action show, then it would be nice to get some more animated. I know we just got like Tales and whatnot, but I'm talking like like I miss the Clone Wars, I missed Bad Batch. Like it was a fun time when, like, for me personally, like we had a great time discussing Bad Batch. That was fun time to be a Star Wars fan, getting new episodes every week like that. It doesn't need to all be, you're giving me a week's worth of like a movie every week worth of content either. But
Yeah.
With that being said, yes, quality over quantity. I'm just saying, I like animated too, and I think people are starting to open up with animated in general. I think we've had this talk, but like I feel like as time goes, I think people are starting to open up to animated a bit more. Like,
Yeah. I mean, obviously the mall show is animated, but I'm sure they've got other Tales shows that they just haven't told us about,
oh yeah,
or maybe they're working on something else. I'm still holding out hope for my late New Republic era animated show, but
Yeah.
not named Resistance. But
yeah,
I'm just
oh,
I'm just looking forward to a show that has more than like 12 episodes. I mean,
yeah.
I think Andor was the perfect amount for a live action show, but
Mhm.
Bad Batch, I mean, every season of Bad Batch was 15 episodes.
Yeah,
So
or more. I don't know. Was it maybe even more? I don't even know.
it was 15, 16.
Okay, yeah. And they had
Yeah.
some like
So like
hour
that
long ones in there
12,
too,
yeah.
but yeah.
And that 12 to 16 range is just perfect. That's fine. It's
Yeah, it's
nice to
fun.
like savor it for a long period of time to
Yeah.
like just be able to enjoy content like
Yeah,
that.
the 8 episode thing has been a big question mark for me in a lot of these, especially for the ones that don't get a second season. But like Mando works. Like it's like I mean I know you're like Mando isn't your like isn't your like you're not huge on Mando. You like Mando, but you're not huge on it, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I for me, I mean, like, yeah, the first couple seasons, I'm like super hyped on it. But I mean, it gets a third season too, but it obviously benefits just by having more seasons. Whereas some of these shows, it's just like do we talk much Skeleton Crew? I don't even know if we got really a good chance to talk Skeleton Crew, to be honest.
I think we forgot about it.
What? Oh no! See, that's the problem because I thought Skeleton Crew was actually pretty good, and
Yeah.
it didn't seem like many people watched it. And I hope it gets a second season, but I don't know if it will.
I think I think they announced the second season before before the show even dropped. I think that's what they
Oh,
did.
really? Well,
Yeah.
cool, cool. That was a fun one to me. I really liked it. I felt I kind of you kind of like feel like a kid again. It's almost like watching like a for me like a lot of people say the Goonies, but it was for me it was like first season of Stranger Things almost, but in the Star Wars universe, which it's fun. It was fun, and that I think that's I'm starting to appreciate that a bit more. Like some show like the quality of shows have been different levels of quality. There's a lot of different shows, but one thing I can certainly give credit where credit is due is the different types of shows for different audiences, and like there's kids for shows or shows for kids, shows for adults, and shows for everyone too, like clearly, and I like that they have given us a plethora of content to digest.
Yeah. And I think that's the good thing that we're like this point that we're in right now. I'm going to hypothesize is like probably the only big drought we're going to see for a while because they announced obviously aside from Starfighter, there's still I'm gonna butcher his name, the Taika Waititi movie.
Yep, I think
There's
you
there's
got
a
it.
bunch of other people that are supposed to get their other movies. Um, I think there's like 4 or 5 movies that are supposed to happen, not including Mando, the Jedi Order movie, the Dawn of the Jedi, Starfighter, and maybe there's like 6 or 7. But there's a lot of movies that are supposed to be happening.
Yeah,
So I
it's
mean,
like it's fun to speculate that, but it's like it's been since pre-COVID since we've had a in theatrical release. Like we know we are going to get a movie for sure releasing with Mando and Grogu, and like I'm obviously they have more movies, but it's like, man, like, can we get there? Can we get to the production line of like that we're actually seeing it? Because I've lost a little bit of faith. Like what's the amount of announcements, but
yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I'm hypothesizing that this like from here until Mando is like the last big drought of Star Wars content for a while. I doubt
yeah.
that they're gonna put a Star Wars movie in the December window versus the Avengers Doomsday and Avatar 3 or whatever.
Oh
I think there's
God.
an Avatar coming.
Oh.
I don't think
Uh
anyone wants to be there.
oh.
So
Oh.
no,
Yeah.
it's Dune Messiah. Dune Messiah, my fault.
Ooh.
It's Dune
Yeah.
Messiah and like Avengers, and
Oh my
I got faith
gosh.
in Star Wars, but I just don't. I'd like to see it perform well, so we keep getting more Star Wars movies, and I'd
Mhm.
rather like Avengers and Dune be like,
Yeah.
you know.
No, especially after Solo, because Solo, like for me, like like I love that movie. Like more, I think at first I said I like it, and I've made the joke that like the story of me watching it was the first Star Wars movie I almost walked out the theater on like 10 minutes in with the with like the creature thing that was on screen that was freaking me out,
Yeah,
but. But
Lady Proxima.
yeah, but it was such a fun time, and on Battlefront 2, I play with like their skins because I had so much fun. Like especially like Donald Glover. Like I mean, I'm a huge fan of his music to begin with, but the portrayal of Lando is great. And that's it, bro. We've had a whole stream talking about this Lando, like that project. What happened? Come on.
I think he's still working on it. I don't think it's been canceled officially yet.
Come
I don't
on.
know. You
That's what
do
I
know. I
want.
mean, yeah, no. I mean, you know they make 8 episode seasons of shows now, and it takes them fucking five
5
years to
years.
make it.
Yeah,
It's outrageous.
yeah, no, that's something. It's like there used to be a time when you could get a Breaking Bad season and they'd be released yearly, like full seasons, 10 episode, hour-long episodes. Game of Thrones was like this too. Game of Thrones, that's not even that. It's not even that long ago. I mean, Game of Thrones yearly release. I mean, okay, yeah, the last few seasons they kind of didn't have 10 episodes and their quality was iffy, but these big name shows, like I'm sure, like Dexter, NCIS. If you looked at all these shows, like they made it happen. They made it happen. Now, obviously, with COVID, there was like there's understandable delays, and then with some of these shows, there was some, there's writers strike. So, for example, like House of the Dragon was delayed, but now it's getting to the point where like, okay, these shows that are coming out now, how is it taking this long now? Like, what is actually going on? Like, and how are shows so expensive too? Like, that's part of the problem too. Like, shows became all of a sudden became extremely expensive compared to what you actually like get out of it. At least from my perspective,
No, it has. It's outrageous too.
it's
Like
outrageous. It's unfair.
I mean, the production. I mean, I actually, in all fairness, I was just doing a video for another channel about this, but like the production for everything's just gone up. Like, it was really surprising to me. For example, the most recent live action How to Train Your Dragon, they made that cheaper than the original animation, which is insane. Like
Oh
the original
wow.
animation was 180 million and the live action was 150 million. That's like the first time I've seen a project that's undershot that much, like undershot the budget,
Wow.
because like everything, like Andor, Acolyte, Kenobi, they were all upwards of like 180 more. And that's like maybe an hour worth of content more than a movie. Because New How to Train Your Dragon is like 2 hours long. So like, where is the money going, bro?
Yeah, it's
Like, and not just for Star Wars, but like
no
Stranger Things. I
anything.
never got into that, but that what was the last season? Like 3, 4 years ago?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, and I'm a big A Song of Ice and Fire, like just especially House of the Dragon. Now, I mean, the House of the Dragon episodes cost like 3 times what Game of Thrones did, and Game of Thrones was larger in scope, was overall higher quality. I mean, season one of House of the Dragon was great. I think the writer strike really hurt season two, but uh, on the topic of the Trainer Dragon, did you see the new movie or like
Saw it twice.
the how is it? How is it? I've heard good things. Should I go see it?
Absolutely. Actually, I would really recommend it. Now, before I go any further, I have toothless tattoo. I'm slightly biased. However,
That's nice.
I will tell you, if you have a 4DX theater near you, see it in 4D.
40.
You have to
Okay.
see it in 4D. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is literally like the same movie. It's 30 minutes longer, which is why I was surprised
Hmm.
why the budget was less. It was actually, fun fact, the uh the the cheapest the first live action remake that was cheaper than the animation.
Yeah, dude, that blows
And
my mind.
and it's the first live action movie to bring back the animated or the director that directed the animated movie.
Well, that's
So,
already a win. Like, why would they not try to do that? Like, how's that the first?
yeah, well, the guy that directed How to Train Your Dragon also did Lilo and Stitch, and they didn't ask him to come back. And have you heard what people said about that movie?
Well, I saw. All I'll say is when I saw movies, I saw previews for it, and I never saw any. I never did it come out because I don't even know.
It did. It actually was performing really well, and then
Oh, okay.
everyone realized it was terrible. But the cool thing, I'm gonna say this: How to Train Your Dragon is great. If you see it in 4D, if you see it in 4D, you get water that splashes on you. The chairs move up and down. There's wind. It's like a full-blown experience, and I saw it that way, and it was awesome. Um, However, the thing that's really cool about How to Train Your Dragon, if you watch like Race to the Edge or the other two movies, or even the TV movies, like they were like kind of like hour-long TV specials. There's lore from each of those that is kind of injected into this. So like there's dynamics that you don't see until you see like a TV show, or like there's a comic panel that I love, and it's I'm gonna just say it's between Stoic and Astrid, and that comic panel is not referenced per se, but that dynamic that's shown there is shown in the movie, and it's not better than the original. It's nothing will ever top the original. It's the original How to Train Your Dragon,
Yeah.
but
It's a
it does a
faithful
fantastic job.
adaptation.
Yes, yes. Live
Wow.
action remakes shouldn't happen. They should be cast off into oblivion. But if they were gonna do it, that's how they should have done it, and they did it perfectly. By the way, the dynamic between Mason and Nico, Ashford and Hiccup, the amazing chemistry, bro.
Okay.
Amazing chemistry.
Okay. I will
So,
say I would be considered a How to Train Your Dragon casual. I certainly enjoyed it. Like that's something I saw, with my family when it came out, and it was a great time. But yeah, I just like seeing good movies. So yeah, I gotta find a time to go. I mean, maybe go this weekend or
yeah,
something. It just
yeah.
started like what, like maybe a week ago, or when did it
It
start?
dropped last Thursday.
Okay, nice, nice. So I'll have plenty of time then.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah,
yeah, man.
that'll
Just
be
came
fun.
out, and they announced they're doing the second one already. They announced it before the first one even dropped. They had
Yeah.
that much faith in it.
That's good though. I kind of, well, I if you have the resources to do that, I think that's probably like good. Like, like you're saying, like how Gilroy secured 2 seasons for Andor. I think like if you're confident that it's good and you're not just going off of like 2 days after release reactions, which are, you should not be measuring that. Like you shouldn't be going off of that kind of thing. That's a good sign. So yeah, that we will watch uh, How to Train Your Dragon's career with great interest.
I am watching it, dude. It had the biggest opening in the franchise ever. It did 200 million in the first weekend. Insane. Broke franchise records. 200 million. It outdid its budget in one
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah, that is crazy. Um,
Yeah, it's diabolical actually.
I guess we have a relevant question that I can touch on, but somebody in the chat says, or Nicholas says, why do you think animated shows based on live action do better, or what do they do better than reverse? What my thing's glitching out. What the heck? I just want to read this. Why do you think animated shows based on live action often do better than the reverse? Why do you think? For me, I think you just like, he's basically like, why is animated better than live action generally? I guess I think
Okay.
for me, and you can especially see this in Star Wars, is it's easier to portray what you want. Like when you have ideas, imaginative ideas in your head, and then like actually expressing those ideas are difficult, especially in live action to some extent. With CGI, it's not as bad, but like animated, I mean, you can literally put whatever you want basically on the screen. That it's just easier to do that, and you, rather than like, especially as a director, rather than imagining, okay, this is how I want my lead to portray this moment. I mean, actors are, there's a lot of great actors, whatnot. You physically are you're drawing them exactly how you want them to. That's just an example of that. But obviously the effects are cheaper, so you can do more effects with them. So at least for me, like the Clone Wars and Rebels, like, are some of the best Star Wars we have from a standpoint of just what they're able to do with that. What do you think, though?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, this is something Dean, I can't say his last name to save my life. I'm gonna say DeBlois. I don't know. The guy that did How to Train Your Dragon. The thing that he said even in some of the interviews is that like the difference between doing animation and directing is that like when you've got a character on screen, you can literally, like, especially from a directing standpoint, as you were saying, you can literally put the emotion you want onto their face. So it's a lot easier to do like nuance, for example. It's just like you can make like a questionable face, and the viewer has to interpret what it is that you're projecting. Whereas like with a live actor, and this is some of the like difficulties I think were semi-present with the live action movies, that like you've got young actors and actresses. They're young actors and actresses. They're not gonna have everything perfect, and so some things might come off stiff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with an animation, you can
Yeah.
even if the actor is younger, you can just project what they're feeling onto their face without having to
Yeah.
go and be like, shut your face like this, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like it, there's a lot of great actors, and it's a skill. Like it's clearly a skill, but ultimately, acting is just that. You're literally, basically, you're trying to convince somebody that you're somebody else. Like it's an act. You're playing on an act, and that's their job. And there's a lot of them that do a good job with that. But just like you're saying, you're not like the only amount of acting there is in an animation is the voice actors themselves, which you only hear. So that's the only element to it that is, I guess, I'm getting faked by. Otherwise, I'm just watching like this is what's being created on screen, and that's kind of what it is. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I have one more thing to say about How to Train Your Dragon, and then
Okay.
I'm done with How to Train Your Dragon. Stoic the Vosh, Stoic is an absolute unit. You know how in like the animated he's like the size of like a broadside of a ship, like he's
Yeah.
massive.
Yep.
Well, Gerald Butler, they like put like 100 pounds of gear on him, and he's just a unit, and it's mind-boggling because you're seeing an actual human being. Because like in the movie, it's like he's like you could fit like 15 hiccups inside of him, and that like you're like okay whatever, because big guy big things, but like he's a big guy in the movie, and he's doing big guy things in the movie. You're like oh my gosh, this guy's an absolute unit. Which is I will say I like that more in the live action than in the animated because it
Okay.
was just like
I,
okay, dude, yeah,
Yeah, so that like bravado, like macho-y role, when I have seen like, animated to live action, it's on the animated, you can just draw them as big as you want. So to get an actor, and then also, the costume team and whatnot to actually be able to accomplish that and make them feel as you're saying, more intimidating, that's most impressive.
yeah, dude, incredible, incredible. By the way, on the animation spectrum, did you watch Tales of the Underworld?
I did watch Tales of the Underworld. What did you think of them?
The Cad Bane arc was peak. Almost better than Dooku's. Almost better than Dooku's.
Uh, yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised to see Cad Bane back. I mean, I prefer the other Bane. His name is Darth Bane, but no, I'm kidding. No, they're both great. Cad Bane is an awesome character, and yeah, I would agree that Cad Bane arc was stronger, and it was certainly good backstory for him. I guess for me, I wasn't like I want more animated and whatnot, but I haven't read the book that has Ventress and what's his name?
Quinlan,
Yeah,
the Dark
Quinlan.
Disciple.
I need to read that, so some of my context is a bit off, but I don't know. It's like I wanted more, but I know I shouldn't, but
I mean that was like the kind of hard thing with both Ventress and Barris is that like we finally got these characters back. Obviously, we knew Ventress was back because of Bad Batch, and it obviously happened sometime after Bad Batch, at least judging by the way the stormtroopers look.
yeah,
But the big problem I had, without spoiling anything, is that like it's probably too late anyways. But the one thing I didn't like is that both Barris and Ventress were left open ended.
hmm
Now, I'm holding out hope because maybe they'll show up in the mall show. That'd be a great
yeah,
tie-in because the
yeah.
mall show could have Barris and Asajj in it, but if they're not in it, they're just kind of like out there. And the thing with the Cad Bane and especially Cad Bane and Dooku, and I'd even say Morgan Elsbeth, is that they all lead into something directly, like Morgan Elsbeth leads into
Yeah, I actually,
Mandalorian.
yeah,
And
I liked Elsbeth's arc and that one too. But yeah, for me, like I guess so I liked Elsbeth's arc and the previous one. For me, like I guess Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Underworld both of them sit below Tales of the Jedi for me, at least for what they had accomplished. And it's more of a like, yeah, it's like I want more. Like not to say it was like a nothing burger for some of those because there's certainly a lot of things that had happened, but it's just like I question some of the choices they made and some of the characters they implemented into that little amount of time where it's like I just want to basically watch Barris or I just want to watch Asajj. Like I mean, maybe you liked that part or two, but like, adding in some of those characters. But like, when you're only working with three short episodes, like not even just regular animated, it's like it's hard for it to not be like you. It's not a very intricate story, in my opinion, I guess. So it's kind of like my opinion isn't like I don't have a very strong opinion either way. I just like it's fun to get these shorts. If we're not going to get animated and this is all we got, I mean, I'll take it. But I kind of just want a longer, like, all right, give me a 12 episode season on just following Asajj, 12 episode season just following Barris, like, and then hopefully that's kind of what the mall show is. So hopefully that's kind of what we're asking for. I mean, obviously other characters can be in it, but I'm just saying, it's just a limited amount of time to accomplish anything relevant, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why I think that's why like the Dooku, Morgan, and Cad Bane arcs fit so well because they accomplish something that leads somewhere, and it feels like there's resolve. And I
Mm-hmm.
think at least personally, I think it works best with Cad Bane because I think Cad Bane was so young into his career as a bounty hunter that
Yeah.
when we see him, like there's still a lot that happens before we see him next in Clone Wars. But it's the fact that it just like the way his character was kind of told and developed and like that whole sequence with him having a son and still him walking away without even questioning it, just like becoming this cold-hearted bounty hunter. It's just like it was beautifully tragic and it was orchestrated in a way that was fulfilling. Whereas like with like I think it's more relevant with the Asajj arc is that like the entire focus was like, oh, we're gonna find Quinlan Voss because this kid wants to find Quinlan Voss. And then we get there and she's like, actually, I'm better than Quinlan Voss. I'm gonna eat my cake. I made my cake, I'm gonna eat it too. You don't get to eat it. Like, and I was just kinda like, bro, bro, you loved this person. I didn't read the book either, but she loved this person.
Yeah. It.
And then was just like,
Yeah. Like
I'm better than this.
Yeah. That kind of didn't make sense to me. Yeah. And then I don't know. I, I mean, and that revival, it takes place during Clone Wars, right? Like it's like that a beginning
Um,
scene.
yeah, the beginning scene. So it did actually. I think the beginning scene actually followed along a lot like the show the book did because in the
Okay.
book there was like this rising mist
Okay.
that happened and Obi-Wan and Quinlan just kept walking away.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I guess that rising mist was her being like, no. And then I guess sometime maybe within
I,
a year she like sprung back from the dead. It doesn't seem like it
okay.
was like an instant thing, but
Yeah,
even at that,
that makes sense
she
because like
was
in the show it's kind of hard to pick up on that because it's like, man, they're literally right there. But if that's not the case, then yeah, I guess reading the book could be useful here. But now it's almost like knowing where her story goes. Like I'm a little bit like, do I want to read that to have an open-ended loop?
yeah. I mean, you know what the ending is because you saw that. I mean, Quinlan sets up the. He's literally actually the one thing I did like about that is like
the
Quinlan is the founder of the path.
Yeah,
I
that
did actually
that
really
that
like that.
connection, at least that was something for me, and especially um like being a huge like Jedi Survivor fan with like Cal Kestis and whatnot. I really like that's just an interesting kind of storyline in general. Just this like the path. Where do the Jedi that survived Order 66 go? All that. It's just one of the more intricate storylines in the Imperial arc. But yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
it's even a good tie-in to Kenobi too because
mhm.
inside that hut
Yep.
in the third episode there was Quinlan's signature.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Little things like that. Definitely add value. But I guess, yeah, long story short for me, I want, a standardized show for in animated form. Like I miss Bad Batch. I do.
Yeah, I actually have to rewatch Bad Batch. I really do.
There's some very, very good episodes in that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a
It
fun
was
time too. It's fun. It's just a lot of they give us a lot of content and that's fun. That's why I like Clone Wars, like shows like that where you like, and honestly now Andor, because there's such long episodes too. The rewatchability factor is super crucial. Some of these 8 episode shows that are only like 20 to, I mean, like 25, 30 minute long episodes, it's like the rewatchability is not not as much there, really, in my opinion. But like, I'm not saying, I'm not gonna rewatch. Like, I rewatched The Mandalorian. I'll certainly rewatch Ahsoka. And I'm certainly getting excited for season 2. That's probably where I'm, at least where my headspace is currently at. Like, I am really excited to see, I guess, that the Mandoverse storyline for where that goes. Like, my expectations slash hope. I don't really have any crazy expectations for the Mando Grogu movie. I just hope it's a fun time, like a good adventure. But I'm really more actually focused on Ahsoka season 2 and that whole, just that's like, for me, that's the current story in Star Wars, kind of, to me at least at the moment. Because I mean, I don't know, they haven't been very like clear cut on what that is, but yeah.
Yeah. I hope that they kind of follow the same trajectory where with that Andor did, is like, clean up some things that didn't
Oh,
necessarily
certainly.
fit as well, because there was some like, I don't know. I'd like to see it a little bit more tied together, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like a little
Like
bit more
it,
structured.
yeah, a little bit more structured. It's like for me, it's like episodes 4, 5, 6. It like peaks really good, and then, but like, yeah, the beginning of the show is a little bit like, okay, like some of this could have been title screen a little bit, or like, sped up a little bit. It's the pacing is a little bit odd, but that's kind of the weird part too. Is like, why does it feel like I'm watching sometimes in these 8 episode shows like filler when we only have 8 episodes? Like, you'd think with 8 episodes it'd feel rushed almost at times, but sometimes some of these shows, yeah, it struggles from that. But yeah, and then still, I'm Ahsoka, with its flaws, for me, from a story perspective, it's like one of the most compelling ones we have, from like, how fun it was. And I think it set up a lot of questions that I want to have them answered. I want to see what they actually do with it. It's just I mean, man, the whole new galaxy. I mean, I want to see what's going on over there, obviously.
Yeah, I hope that with this new season they at least balance. I hope they don't do like one of my critiques for Acolyte, as much as I like it, is the full flashback episodes, like the full episodes dedicated to a flashback. It works. I get why they did it, but I think it could have been done differently. I hope that with Ahsoka season 2 they don't do something similar to that, where it's like all in Peridia, or all on Peridia and then all back with the New Republic. I hope that like there's some balance there, so that you can at least see the New Republic react to Thrawn's return.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah, I hope it
hope
doesn't just
Tony,
like skip a bunch of stuff. That would be frustrating.
yeah, I hope Gilroy comes back just to direct Mon Mothma, because I'm not gonna lie, this is it's a little bit of a critique coming out of left field for me, but like watching Mon Mothma and Andor and then watching her in Ahsoka is like night and day, bro. That is like two different people. So
Hot takes. No, not hot takes, but no, that's something too. It's like, yes, my eyes have certainly been opened with like, if that's I under season 2, if that's the quality from a acting deliverable, just quality perspective, quality control. Yeah, like Filoni could certainly probably use some help with like someone that has more experience to refine his script writing and refine just the directing on it. Um, with that, I mean, I guess with that being said, like, I mean, maybe Star Wars is evolving, but it's kind of tough to say, because it's like I it's like a space opera. So like, would people get on certain, like, like the prequels or whatever for their questionable lines at times? For me, I'm like, well, I don't know, it's a space opera, like it's not like, there's definitely some memes in there, but how they talk, and how Yoda's talked in rhymes, they're not necessarily supposed to sound like us, right? It's in a galaxy far away. But with that being said, I think there's still a lot to be said as far as quality. Like, it can feel out of this world while still have some quality control, and make sure when have screen time, there's a reason for it, and we're not just doing something. But yeah, yeah,
yeah, I do agree. I think the big reason it came up with me, at least, is because like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan in the prequels is pretty consistent with who he is in the Kenobi show. He's a little bit more like a lot more jaded, but he's
hmm
still like, it's still kind of fluid with the acting from that era. Same with Hayden in both Ahsoka and in Kenobi. It's just like I didn't realize, I guess I guess it kind of like didn't linger with me as much with the first season of Andor, but I don't think I really internalized like the difference between like, Guinevere O'Reilly, I think that's her name, just her ability as an actor, because it just felt really muted. Like it just, I don't know, it seemed like kind of because it's the same actor. That I think
Mhm.
that's why I noticed it a lot more than I would have with
Yeah,
like say like Amon Esfandi playing Ezra is not like
yeah,
the guy who did the voice acting for him. Those are
yeah. And
two
when
different people.
and we're in the same, we're in the
And
same universe, so it would be nice to, from that standpoint, have like we can have shows for, but like we're in the live action same universe. There's got to be some level of consistency from that standpoint. So yeah, I think like yeah, in a way, Andor season 2 kind of did set. I'm not gonna say necessarily the standard, but certainly I think increased the bar a little bit, just in general, of just how things should operate and how what people are expecting, and
Mhm.
what why not? Why not? Um, I guess what anything else in particular you want to get into before we get into like Q&A? What do I mean, oh, you said you didn't watch Visions. Have you not watched Visions at all, or?
I have actually the same experience with Visions as I do with Star Wars Resistance. I get to it. I'm like I'm determined to watch this. With Resistance, it's the first 5 episodes. With Vision, it's the first episode. It's just like I get to the first 5 episodes and I just crash. I can't get through it. I know that on the other side, especially with Resistance, like I've heard a lot of good things about season 2, and I want to get there by watching all the way through. I
Mhm.
just can't get through those first 5 episodes. Same thing with
Well,
with Visions. It's like that first episode, I just can't get through it. I just
like
crash.
the Ronin episode.
Yeah, it's good too. That's the worst part. It's like good, and I just like
Oh, oh, you hurt
yeah,
me. Oh
yeah.
no.
It's diabolical, bro. I just can't get through it. I
What?
don't know.
You- You're breaking my heart.
I have that effect on people, you know?
But Visions, like, I mean, I'm sure you know, but every episode is literally like there's no relation. Like every episode is
Yeah.
completely different. So there's certainly, like, to be honest, I would say like I could go without half of them, but there's some really like fun ones. It's nice to see because it gives it. I like that it almost, it's close to it's. I mean, it's not this, but it's close to like giving almost like the let a fan do what they want, but it's it's letting smaller studios or whatever what's their vision of Star Wars, and there's some fun stories in there where it's like I get the like, oh, I get the Star Wars feel, but it's a unique take on it. I'd say there's probably like a handful that I would just like recommend to watch, and then yeah, from there it's there's a lot of like, and there's some very artistic ones. There's ones that are like they go heavy on like family, and then region dependent too, of like, oh, this like you can feel like the different parts of our world kind of sprinkled in to some of it. But yeah, it's definitely I mean, obviously it's just basically a bunch of what ifs, or not necessarily what ifs, but a bunch of non-canon fun stories. But yeah, no, I can, it's from a priority list of what to watch. It's not like that's not this is a high priority, but it's fun. And if that's the only content we're getting this year, I mean, I'll certainly watch it, but we'll see.
Before we get to the Q&As, I think I was talking, I forget who I was talking to, but I thought a cool idea for a show, another Star Wars show, would be an Andor stylized show, but from the Imperial Remnant perspective as they set up the First Order.
Ooh, I mean, I would at least like to see what, yeah, how could this happen? Like, what, how do they, how do that? Yeah, I could see that. That'd be. It's just because yeah, there's such a big gap between what we have, so there's just a huge question mark of like, all right, like the rebels won, and what happened, guys? Like, come on, you sleep at the wheel? Like, what happened? And not only that,
Yeah,
it was literally worse. They made a base that was way stronger than the Death Star and blew up like half the core worlds. Like, they fumbled pretty bad.
yeah, yeah. That was a bit of a fumble. But anyways, I thought that'd be a cool, like, I don't know, like it'd be like an inverse where you kind of see like instead of like a Dedra being an Imperial, it's like a New Republic officer kind of thing. and it's like you're gonna just see the
Yeah.
crumbling of their kind of
Yeah,
dynamic and
yeah.
how
Yeah,
yeah,
that could
like how
work.
Leia starts doing the resistance and like the separation between Republic military and all that. But anyways, that was
Oh.
an I just want to throw that out there. Just put it on your mind.
Oh, you said something now. It sparked my kind of that, but just like Leia, for like Ahsoka season 2 and the Heir to Empire movie to come. Like, do you think we are gonna see like Leia, Luke, Han at all? Like in these? Like, I mean, it seems possible. And do you think it will
Bro,
be a recast?
bro, they literally have three of the three originals. I mean, the guy who played Solo in Solo,
Yeah.
Alden Ehrenreich, he just is Han Solo.
And
I
then, well,
watched that movie
And Lando.
and Lando, exactly. Donald Glover, he is Lando. Same with what's his
Luke.
name?
Well,
Graham Hamilton.
yeah. He
Without
looks
the
more like Luke than Mark Hamill does.
He looks more like Luke than the CGI BS they put on his face. Like he looked just like him, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put dots on your face and make you look like a freaking
it
computer with no emotion."
it literally like barely yeah, like it doesn't like that's kind of where I'm at too, like especially like oh yeah, we had budget problems, we couldn't do this or that, and then I'm like, what budget problems, where did the money go? You gave me Gara Zeb for like 10 seconds to not bring him back, so you can do that kind of animation, but then you don't do that animation, but then you just refrain from bringing characters in altogether. Like, come on, man. Like, I care more about the story. I'm not gonna be thrown off by a character like looking slightly different. So I think it was a good thing that they chucked in a new character for Bail Organa, just from a standpoint of like, man, like it's fine to recast. We just want to see these characters. It's not the actor, it's the character. Like people, like what?
If I could say one thing to Disney Lucasfilm, stop listening to Twitter. Stop listening to Twitter. They don't have the right ideas. It's Twitter. It's just toxic. Just don't listen to it. It's not. Don't listen to Twitter. Twitter is not the source of information.
There's definitely been times, like especially when shows are airing, where like I've been like super pumped or stuff, and I'm just scrolling Twitter. I'm like, what? Oh, dude, like what a I don't even know what they're like. And there's so many wild takes on there. Like they'll be the most random takes, but yeah. Anyhow, we could ramble a while on this, but like, do you think that like I guess I don't know to refrain like, assuming they're fine with recasting, do you think that they'll play a part? I mean, I'll say right now, I think they should play some part. Well, with that being said, like I'm fine with like for me, like like they've done like Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn books like in the past, like they have a foundation of what it could be. They could do that. That could be fun, and that like I'm sure a lot of people would be happy with that. But they also they have new characters now. Like I like Emin Esfandi's portrayal of Ezra. That's a lot of people, but like not gonna, but like he's Ezra to me, and that could be a main character. I mean, Ahsoka's fine. I think it would be a little bit disrespectful to not include Luke, Leia, and Han to some extent though in these stories though. Like I'm not saying like I think they should be included. That's my 2 cents, but
They should. I mean, like, it's hard because I think the CGI Leia had been added to Rogue One before Carrie Fisher passed,
mm-hmm.
but it's almost been 10 years since she passed away. And it's not
Crazy.
disrespectful. Like for Rise of Skywalker, I get why they used the deleted scenes. It would be atrocious to turn her into a CGI monster. Using her deleted scenes
Yeah.
from The Force Awakens for her shots in the Rise of Skywalker makes perfect sense. However, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford are not young enough to do those roles unless you want to do what they did at the beginning of the most recent indie. And I don't really see the point of doing that. I mean, it's
No.
great. Yeah, sure, the authentic actor is there, but like I saw a clip, someone put Harrison Ford's face over Alden Ehrenreich, and you just cannot tell the difference. Like you literally
Yeah.
like he's a good actor, and that's all it is. I mean, like you would save more money just picking an actor that sort of looks like Mark Hamill but acts like Luke.
Yeah, and then
And
we
then
could
he
do
could do
much
it.
more, and then you could save money and put that towards other things too, like Zeb, for example. It's just
Yeah.
Like to me, like I think I've evolved a little bit on this. I think at first, like, I'm like, for example, like Hayden Christensen, he's kind of at an age where it's like, yeah, I do want to see Hayden Christensen playing Anakin. Like, you can touch him up a little bit. He looked fine to me in Ahsoka, but yeah, when they are like, what's the point of doing this? And also, I'm not gonna feel that necessarily that bad. Like, I'm thankful for what all these legacy names did for these characters, but I'm not necessarily gonna feel bad if they're not getting another payday, because I mean, like they probably have enough money. Like, I'm not gonna feel bad from that perspective. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like,
They were in the original trilogy. They're set for life.
yeah, yeah. So I hope anyhow we do get, Luke, Leia, Han, Lando, some Chewie, and I think just because of how important, at least Leia certainly, how important figures they are in the structure of the government, New Republic government, and the military as well. And also, yeah, it'd be cool to see Luke starting to build his new Jedi Order more, that kind of thing. And I'm a huge fan of Han Solo as a character, just in general, like the smuggler aspect. It's nice to, have different, like, they're all different and what they do and the different aspects of it. But yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, I loved seeing Anthony Daniels show up as 3PO in Ahsoka, but like that would have been a really cool opportunity to just play a risk, just take a risk with it, like they did with Bale. Like I know the other guy that plays him typically just wasn't available, but like that would have been a great time to just test it out, just pull a Leia actress and just give it a scene. Let Leia come and interact with Mon Mothma and
hmm
Hera Syndulla. That's like the big three of the alliance right there. Like
yeah.
those are three of the most important figures in the Alliance, New Republic. So it would have been really cool to see all three of them interact in one scene,
hmm
just to test it,
yeah.
just to like, because Leia is frequently mentioned in Ahsoka. It's like just test it, just put them up there, give it a try. Don't use CGI.
Yeah, and
Could be fun.
for me, the fanboy in me in a little bit too. I think it would be pretty cool for me personally to see Luke, like, he doesn't need to be anyone's, like, become anybody's, like, master or whatever. Like, if he comes in and, like, let's say that he's helping out in the fight against Thrawn or whatever, but it'd be cool for him to kind of like show off a little bit, like, to Ezra and like Ahsoka, and maybe give him a couple pointers before he really goes off and eventually kind of goes off into the deep end a little bit. But it would be cool to get him a little bit more spotlight too, I guess, in canon for like, that's just my 2 cents. But
Oh, I mean, I would agree because like I think that's what people misinterpret about the sequels. Is like that cast was out of their prime. Their prime was the original trilogy because that's when they were all young, and they're still technically in their prime during this period. And if you wanted them in their prime, then George would have had them made the sequels when the
mhm.
prequels were made,
Yeah.
and obviously that didn't happen. So this is kind of their prime to be what you expected them to be in the sequels when they were 60 plus years old.
hmm
So it'd be great to have. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Luke and Ezra working together.
hmm
I think they would be a terrible duo. They would just
Yeah, dude.
outrageous.
I've said this on stream before, but I also think that Ezra is very powerful. It's hard to quantify his, like, how strong he actually is, but I think he's a very powerful Jedi too. So yeah, they would go on an absolute tear though.
Yeah.
And then obviously it'd be cool to get Jason in on the mix too. Like, I still think that that's just, it's on a platter for that. Ezra's got to become Jason's master, but it still would be cool to have Luke at least, like, give some kind of pointers to full circle or whatever. It though, it's kind of, I not necessarily pointers, because that's kind of, Ahsoka does, like, is the most, like, battle hardened, I guess, at this point too. But it's still like everybody, I guess, of those kind of characters, everyone has their own thing to give to. I guess, like, Luke, is probably gonna have a deeper connection to certain aspects of the Force, and from what he had done. So certain things, I guess, from that standpoint. But it might be one of those things where, yeah, they could certainly learn from each other. But obviously, I liked in the Book of Boba Fett with the interactions with Ahsoka and Luke too, and would like more of those too. But
Yeah. I mean, Luke, Ezra, and Leia, they're all the same. I think Ezra's a day older, but they're all the same age, and they're like the three most powerful
dude,
or
yeah, I
gifted
can't even. Yeah,
gifted people of
see
their
that
generation. Like,
that 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 mixes me up. Yeah, it's like I keep forgetting that no, Luke is not like I was mixing it up. I'm thinking he's like older, but not necessarily, right? No.
Yeah. No,
No.
they're the same age, and like
But still,
I don't know. They're
just teaming up, and then I'll throw it in there. Cal Kestis, chuck him in the mix.
I want to see it, dude. I want to see it. I want to see that team. That would be an awesome team. Have a team of Jedi, you know?
Yeah, some ragtag team of Jedi, man. Man, yeah, a bunch of different background, but yeah. Well, let's hop into the Q&A. See what people have to say. And yeah, and feel free as we're going to fill out more Q&A, and we'll hang out with the chat a little bit too. But first one is from JEK. He simply asks, Pence, do you remember me from the other week? I don't know.
Probably from a PPL stream,
Okay.
PP Live.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Well.
Yeah, they were torturing me the other week.
Oh, well, ask and you shall receive. So there.
Yeah.
Sonia Patoya, Bismo, which Star Wars character would you want to have as your gym trainer if you're doing workout in the gym? Qui-Gon Jinn. That's my answer.
That's a good choice.
No, well, who would you go with though?
I'm not gonna if it's in the gym, not like actual training. If it's in the gym, I'm picking Anakin. I wouldn't pick Anakin for anything else. But did you see that six-pack he had in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Dude was shredded. Also, I feel like he's the type of guy in the gym that would just do nothing but for me when I go to the gym, I just antagonize people. So like if I'm there with someone, all I do is antagonize them.
Yeah, get them.
So going to the gym with Anakin, I would just like we would be in each other's face, like, just yeah. I would choose Anakin for a gym buddy.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn, maybe Ben Swallow.
Ben Swallow, dude, you get the text.
ARC Trooper, Python XN. Man, I'm struggling with some of these names. Anyhow, what was both of your favorite arcs in all of Andor? You go first on this one.
I'm gonna tell you, best trilogy in all of Star Wars, episode 7 through 9. Just best trilogy in all of Star Wars, honestly.
Wait.
Those 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, episode 7, 8, 9, like the Gorman, yeah.
Yeah, the Gorman arc, insane. I felt things I never felt while watching Star Wars before while watching that. That like seriously is I jokingly say it, but like insane. Like 3 of the best episodes I've just ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it. I watched it back to back like 2 times in a row. It's just like it was just unreal. It was perfect. Like
yeah.
Such a great setup, such a great build, such a great resolution. I would 100 times and again say that.
My answer is pretty much the same, but I'd almost argue the only thing that was a little clickbait is I think that for me it's 4 through like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because just the entirety or 5 or whenever they get on Gorman, is it 5? I don't know, but there's obviously episodes in 5 and 6 to throw. But yeah, just the entire Gorman arc for me. But yeah, then they follow it up with that's probably my individual episode, that episode 9 with that. Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, the Gorman arc. Narkina 5 is certainly, especially on a rewatch, has definitely grown on me, but it's definitely the Gorman arc, and I think that's if I had to pick, like, I bet Gilroy is probably most proud of the Gorman arc, and it seems like that's, and especially in interviews, about like he's always wanted to do something about like a show about kind of rebellion and whatnot, and that's I mean from a standpoint of screen time of where we were at, that was just also the largest story, I believe. If we're not saying that overarching story, like that was the longest time we spent on a given world or that invested. I mean, we had like a dozen side characters essentially for just 5 episodes. Not side characters, but like supporting characters that were just made specifically for that.
Yeah, incredible stuff, man.
Yeah. Okay. Jack says, question for Bismo: what type of content do you make? You seem like a good guy, and I haven't seen your channel before. I mean, I primarily make Star Wars content. I make some Star Wars what ifs. I can't keep up with Anthony on the what ifs, but I'll do gaming Star Wars what ifs. Yeah, recently I've been making these like documentaries on Star Wars games, but kind of like I also do breakdowns. It's just kind of whatever I'm feeling, but usually more, anything nerdy. I like talking about nerdy stuff, but yeah. I I I guess I don't have a clear cut answer, but definitely Star Wars is the priority on the channel. But um, yeah, I do a little bit of it all though. That's what I'd say. But yeah, I like streaming the most though. Like honestly, like being able to like almost do YouTube so that I've been able to meet a lot of cool people and have do fun streams too though. So like, I guess what I do, I mean, I make videos, but I also really like to do streams and talk about Star Wars. That's probably the funnest thing I do. But yeah. 067 says, what would a thriller / gore Star Wars show do or look like? We can both answer. For me, I mean, if they made the Darth Bane trilogy, if they just made that on screen, that's probably what a gore show would look like, especially if you've read the first book, which I would definitely recommend the Bane books. And I mean, I hope one day we get some live action Old Republic. But what do you think? What would gore look like? I guess.
Season 2 of The Acolyte.
Oh yeah, true. Episode 5. That was peak. That episode was peak. I will stand by that. That episode was very fun and very dark.
I also will never forget the chills I got when I saw Plagueis for the first time.
Yeah,
I literally my that hair on my arm stood up. Like it freaked me out because it was just like
it was creepy.
It was just like that entire build up to Plagueis showing up. I mean, come on, we could have seen him. We could possibly see him. Could see him tear through some Jedi, and that would be incredible.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Plagueis. I mean, the Plagueis book. That's another thing too. Like the Plagueis book, all these Sith, the dark side is so fascinating. So, yeah, I hope we can see more Plagueis and just more dark side in general. Like, but yeah,
we could have seen like maybe Plagueis versus like Vernestra. That would have been insane.
Like in a season 2, you're saying?
Yeah, in like a season 2.
They canceled it, but like, so supposedly or whatever. But I feel like there has been a decent, like, even more than I had actually kind of imagined. There's definitely a good amount of people that did enjoy it. I'm curious if they'll, I guess, ever reconsider doing more on that or not. But
yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, I saw that that Acolyte still stays pretty high on the charts on Disney Plus pretty frequently, like consistently watched, which is really surprising. But because it's been a year.
Yeah, I mean, watching it and digesting it, it's like I'd certainly like it was fun and I liked that they tried something new, but it's kind of similar. It's a first season in a lot of ways where it's like, man, they definitely had a lot to clean up, but there was certainly some things that were a lot of fun. But yeah. Obviously, want to see Plagueis. But okay. Shadowfast is. Can you please make a what if video with this idea? What if Ahsoka was the one who betrays the clones on Umbara? All right, you got me on a live stream. You've asked me this question 100 times. Next question. Jack asks again. Pence, can I give you? Huh? Wait. I can't read. Wait a minute. I think it's fine. Okay, Pence, can I give you pink eye again because you let me last time while you played Battlefront 2? What?
This is what I was talking about. I was tortured. I streamed on the Penti Patrol live channel, and they just tore at me. There was 2 of them. There was 2 or 3 of them. They just wanted to give me pink eye, and for me to be their dad. And I'm like, dude, I'm 24.
What the?
I'm not old enough for this.
What the?
Yeah.
Oh god.
There's some deep lore for you.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more.
Yeah, we'll talk more about my cursed clips.
Southern California Transit asks, do you prefer the Clone Wars or the Rebels style for lightsabers? I'll let you go first on that one.
Ooh, that's hard because I actually I like the Rebel style a lot more than most do. Um, I don't know, something about it is just like really aesthetically pleasing, but I will say Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm doing a quick search. I kind of want to just get it in my head.
It's like the really thin
Yeah,
blades.
the thinner ones. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I probably prefer Clone Wars, but it's kind of close to a toss up because it's not like I do like I'm fine with the animation in Rebels and um yeah, I mean it's fine. Both like the Rebels in a lot of ways is I mean it's I like both the shows, but Rebels can certainly be S tier. Like it's just a great. It's just if you haven't watched Rebels and you're like, oh, it's animated, I don't like it. Just watch it, man. Like, come on, what are you even doing? What are you even doing?
Just watch it.
Yeah, just
Just
come
watch
on.
it.
But yeah. And then he follows up with for Pent, how long do you spend on videos?
Depends on the video. I just wrote a story on I wrote two stories back to back. One was what if Palpatine was impeached for the Zilla Beast attack? That one probably took oh, it's raining. That one probably took me like 5 hours to write, and then an hour to record, and then I had to touch it up and I sent it to an editor. But most stories take somewhere between 4 to 6 or 7 hours to write. It just depends on if it's there or not. I've had a writer's block for like the last week and a half, so
Yeah, man, and
it's been a nightmare.
you're obviously your stories are long. Like you have the longest what
Oh,
ifs too. So it's that's great. It's crazy, man. I, cause
dude, I've
yeah.
I've been on a bender lately. It's like back-to-back 50-minute videos just brutalized me.
Oh my gosh,
Which were
dude.
great stories, admittedly. I thought they were good, but grueling to write in some ways, just because it's arc after arc after arc,
Yeah.
kind of like an Andor episode. It's like you're trying to fit like a lot into it. So,
Yeah,
but
dude.
yeah,
I
those definitely take longer than 6 hours though.
yeah, an hour of what if content for me is like a month long project. So just to put it in perspective, but yeah, no, that yeah. So my I'd say when I do what ifs, I'm probably I they usually end up in the like per episode is probably like around 20 minutes, and it's tough to estimate how long, but yeah, probably eh, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours writing, and then similar for editing, I guess, but. It just depends too. It depends, honestly. Too, a part of the problem too is like how much resources do you have for the topic? Like, there's so many fun ideas you can do, but then some of them are like, man, how many pictures am I going to be able to obtain? Like, some of these projects aren't as feasible as others, right? But
Yeah, yeah, dude. I did I not send you my folder with like 17,000 pictures?
you, well, no, no, yeah, I don't know if you sent me your folder, but you sent me a source to get, pictures and whatnot.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I thought I sent you my folder. My fault. I'm gonna send you that folder.
Dude,
I have
that
a
would be
folder with
I, that
so
would be
many.
massive, dude. Because I was starting to like, all right, I'm new PC, new me. I'm gonna actually start organizing, but then I was like, this is gonna take an eternity. You know?
It does take an eternity. I've spent probably multiple days just doing it. Like if I have a like this is what I would used to do. I don't know if you noticed. I use clips now for videos.
Oh wow, okay.
Um
No, I
and
haven't kept up with. Really? That's sick.
yeah, it's a new it's been there maybe for 2 months or something.
Okay.
It's just a new style, but
I think I've maybe seen brief clips before, but like, is it most of the time or?
oh yeah, almost all the videos are all clips. But yeah, no, I got like 17,000 pictures. I still add to it, but like whenever I had a writer's block, that's what I would do. I would just go on that website and just pull image after image after image, and then I would then I would crop it all on my phone, send it to my laptop, and just start organizing it. And yeah, so
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Long story short, it takes a long time to make even one video. So I'm gonna say again, you're the king of what ifs, man. Nobody does them like you.
appreciate it.
um, Nicholas Cromie says, "Would you rather see new Star Wars media that is more comedy focused, like the Marvel Universe, or more fantasy focused, like the Lord of the Rings? I know they aren't related, but the two are different directions." Um, well, I don't know. It's kind of a tricky, almost like a trick question, because I would say Star Wars has inherent comedic aspects to it, but it shouldn't be primarily comedic. And Star Wars is a fantasy, like it should be. It should. That's why I'm most excited for like stories like Ahsoka season 2, like the fantasy aspect of the crazy story that's going on. You got to have like the fun droids in there, like Chopper to have some comedic effects too. So you could do both, but yeah, definitely lean on the fantasy side.
Yeah, I would be with you. I think a lot of like Star Wars comedy, and I might be wrong for saying this because I don't watch a ton of Marvel, but the Marvel that I have watched, some of the comedy does feel forced, and I'm specifically talking about it's not Iron Man, it's like Iron Warzone or whatever his name is. It's the other guy played by
Uh,
Don Cheadle.
I don't even know.
Um,
I don't watch Marvel anymore.
well, it was during the Endgame. It was during
Oh yeah,
Endgame,
yeah.
and like Thor, Thor
I'm
was
so
like big
casual.
sad.
I can't even I can't even recall most of the characters anyway.
Only reason I remember it is because it just pissed me off. It actually made me angry.
Hmm.
And Thor was just like he was like we lost all of our friends, and it was after he was like he went on his like fat arc where he was just sitting on the couch drinking brewskis all day while playing literal Fortnite.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. That
Don
okay.
Cheadle,
That was funny. That was funny. I know what you're talking about.
that
But
was
you said
funny,
it.
but
But you're
Don
saying like, but
Don Cheadle during like a really emotional scene was like off, like he was like got vengeance flowing through my veins. He's like, oh, I thought it was Cheese Whiz or something like that. I was like,
oh,
okay.
oh,
So to my point, I said this other day because I was joking around with my friends, and I said it like under my breath, but it escaped, and I was like, we're doomed. Like how 3PO does it.
yeah,
That's hilarious. I
yeah,
think 3PO is hilarious. Like we're doomed.
yeah.
So, I love the way Star Wars comedy is because it's not forced. It's just like it happens naturally because of who the characters
Yeah.
are.
Uh,
And
uh, Another example, because was rewatching Andor season 1. On one of the early episodes, they have like this boar on Ferrix just like pee, like it's about to pee on the B2, I think, or something like that.
oh
Like,
my gosh,
like just like little things like that. Like that's funny. Like, yeah,
yeah.
but
And I don't know. I think comedy needs to be natural, but I
yeah,
am with you 100% that the mythology is kind of what Star Wars is based in. So
yeah,
that
100%,
mythos is the way to go.
100%. All right, I'm trying to get through these a little quicker now, but no. Sorry. TX Goliath says thoughts on people call Andor with Jedi or lightsabers ghetto Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. I mean, all right.
Okay. Good talk.
Okay. Um, Southern California again. Not a question, but the Legends Death Troopers book would be a great horror movie. Death Troopers are my favorite to play in Battlefront 2, and I really like Death Troopers. They're super intimidating and fun. So yeah, it would be, and especially in like I got them back there, but the Thrawn books. There's a book where you get you actually learn some of their names, a couple of the Death Troopers and whatnot. You almost get somewhat attached to some of their characters, like some of Thrawn's bodyguards and whatnot. So it's cool to see a little bit more behind the mask, other than just you don't even hear them speak. But yeah, okay, all right. Sean Sheep 888. Less of a question, more of a thanks. I've been doing my tertiary education this year. On one thing that has kept the chaos from overwhelming me was Pen Patrol Star Wars What Ifs. Thank you for them. They are amazing.
Of course.
Anytime.
Nice work, Anthony. Nice
Appreciate
work. All right, we got through the questions, so I'm hitting end Q&A before they keep going. No. But yeah, no, this has been a good one. This is probably we've had longer shows, but this is one of the longer ones. I feel like we covered a lot too. But yeah, I guess anything else or anything else from the chat or anywhere else? Anything you want to say before we get on out? Well, in that case, are making an escape. But no, that was fun. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, man, maybe the goal should be to continually decrease how long it is between the next stream. Even if we don't have as much to talk about with less shows, there's still so much to speculate and talk on and just hang out with. So yeah, and actually, hopefully, I'll see the How to Train Your Dragon remake. So something else to hopefully talk about for next time.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it. It has to be done.
I will do it. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, and yeah, we're gonna call it there. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, guys. Appreciate y'all. But yeah, peace out, everyone. Bye now. Thanks, Anthony.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.